Sticking in Division II, the number 11 seed Corona Del Mar Sea Kings, they lost to the number 3 seed, the Orange Lutheran Lancers, at Davidson Field on Friday night. 38-14, the final score there. And Howard, we knew Corona Del Mar going up against a Trinity League opponent, it was going to be tough. The talent disparity was going to be noticeable. That's what it ended up being, and Coach Dan O'Shea talked about looking across the sideline at Davidson Field and noting that on Friday night.
And this was, I think, the second time in the last 11 years we've been at Corona Del Mar where we're like, after the first series, we're like, holy sugar. And Brian Pearsall, our defense coordinator, mentioned it last night. He goes, Dan, I think it's 2020. I'm looking out there. I'm going, Brian, I think you're right. It's 2020. I mean,
well, they had the athletes, huh?
They have 20 guys that are faster than us until we get to our fastest guy. And it would take 20 guys, you know, our guy would be 21 who's strong enough in the weight room.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm like, holy sugar. And so the appreciation for their talent was clear.
Well, with Coach O'Shea, when he points out the size and the speed and kind of the physical talent disparity between Olu and CDM, he's not making any excuses. You know, Coach O'Shea is a guy that relishes these opportunities, and he loves to see his team compete against these Trinity League opponents. But the reality is that the Trinity League guys are just a different level. And when you're playing guys that are that big, that strong, that athletic, they make all of your execution difficult on offense and defense. For CDM, it's almost impossible to get the run game going. We've seen Corona Del Mar be a team that kind of feeds off of the big play throughout the year, these big, long, streaking touchdowns. They really couldn't get loose against Orange Lutheran.
We do need to give a shout-out offensively to wide receiver, the senior Harvard-bound Max Lane. He had the 2 touchdowns for Corona Del Mar, opened the game with a 45-yard touchdown catch from David Razor. Lane finished with 6 catches, 85 yards, and 2 TDs. So a bright spot there for the CDM offense.
Yeah, a couple other guys like usual. You know, Tipton had a good night. Hoke had a couple of catches. Evan Sanders usually has a big night. He got a little banged up, so didn't play in the second half. And Charlie Manning took some carries. We know he's a Swiss Army knife and does it all for the Sea Kings. So despite playing a tough group like Orange Lutheran, we know Corona Del Mar, they're always going to play hard. They're never going to make excuses. They're going to be well coached. They're going to take pride in what they do. And that's how they played on Friday night. Just had a tough opponent. I mean, one thing I liked was in the third quarter, we saw a long 18 or 19 play drive out of Corona Del Mar. That's just their perseverance, their guttiness. There was penalties on that drive, but they kept continuing to execute, continuing to fight, believing in themselves. And that's when we saw the second Max Lane touchdown. So there's always going to be some bright spots because they're a team that does play so hard and believes in what they do.
First postseason loss for CDM since 2018. They won state in 2019, and then the COVID season here in spring 2021, no postseason. So when you look at Corona Del Mar's season overall, they went 5-0 in non-Sunset League play. Then their 2 losses were to Los Al, Edison, and a Trinity League team. So overall, a pretty good body of work from Coach Dan O'Shea's squad.